I am Sheila Hall, 22 years old and about to graduate from Stanford School of Medicine. Last week, I called my parents to lock in graduation details. Dad picked up with his typical sharp edge. "We can't make the drive for your ceremony," he said flatly. "Take the bus. We're buying your sister a Porsche instead." The words hit like a punch. My sister was just wrapping up high school, and here they were prioritizing her again. That sharp unfairness twisted in me, the kind that's built up over years of being sidelined. Today, I'll walk you through my overlooked childhood in Kansas City, the college grind I powered through alone, and the graduation moment that flipped everything, forcing my parents to face the cost of their choices. I wonder if you've ever felt that raw divide in your own family. If you're tuning in, drop your state in the comments below. Let's see where these stories resonate. Smash that like button and subscribe to join my ride from the overlooked achiever to the one who made my family regret ever leaving me behind. Growing up in our spacious home in Mission Hills, Kansas City, I always sensed I was playing second fiddle to my sister. My father, Stephen Hall, was CEO of a mid-sized software firm downtown, the kind of guy who ran everything like a tight spreadsheet, stern and unyielding with his expectations. My mother, Brenda Hall, was a cardiologist at a top hospital in the area, her demands more understated but just as relentless. They built this world where perfection wasn't praised. It was just the baseline. When I was 4, Gina arrived. I remember the day they brought her home from the hospital. She had those wide blue eyes and wispy golden hair that seemed to glow. From then on, it felt like the family's focus locked onto her. I went from being the only child to the dependable one who had to lead by example. The favoritism crept in quietly at first. For my 8th birthday, they gave me a stack of medical books saying it would build my future. But when Gina turned 4 2 months later, she got a full unicorn-themed party with a real pony trotting around the backyard. I tried to brush it off, figuring she was younger and needed the extra sparkle. As years went by, though, it got harder to ignore. Family trips revolved around what Gina wanted. If she dreamed of Disney World, that's where we headed, complete with fast passes and character dinners. The summer I was 12, I begged to skip our usual lake outing for a science camp nearby, something that matched my growing interest in medicine. Mom just smiled and said, "Next time, Sheila, we'll see." That next time never happened, and we ended up at the lake again with Gina's laughter echoing over the water while I sat reading alone. Those moments built up that quiet ache of being overlooked. It makes me think of all the stories out there where people feel invisible in their own homes, pushing through anyway. The disparities shaped how I saw myself, always needing to prove I was worth noticing. But school would turn that subtle hurt into something sharper. But school made everything worse. By high school, the double standard hit hard. I threw myself into academics, pulling straight A's while juggling every club and contest that came my way. My parents barely blinked. A quick nod or, "That's expected of you, Sheila," was all I got. But Gina could bring home B's and C's, and they'd light up with praise for her effort or progress. It stung every time, that invisible line where my achievements were just the norm, while hers were celebrated like breakthroughs. I doubled down, figuring if I worked harder, they'd finally see me. I joined the debate team, became editor of the school newspaper, and loaded up on advanced classes. Nights blurred into study sessions until the wee hours, driven by this quiet desperation for the pride they showered on Gina for landing a small part in the school musical. Our relationship as sisters was tricky. I never held it against her outright, since she was caught in their web too. But the gap grew. Gina got used to coasting, no real pushback or consequences. Take the car incident when she was 16. She totaled her brand new Porsche after a party, barely a scratch on her, but the car was done. Dad replaced it the next day without a word of lecture. When I'd asked for help with a used sedan for commuting to part-time jobs, he told me to earn it myself. I saved every dime from waitressing gigs, finally getting something reliable but basic. Experiences like that reinforced the divide, making me internalize that recognition came at double the cost for me. I believe many have felt that grind of unequal effort without equal reward. The deepest cut came my senior year. I'd earned valedictorian honors after years of sacrifice, no weekends off, no social scene, just relentless focus. The ceremony fell on a Thursday evening. When I reminded my parents, Mom frowned. "Oh, Sheila, that's the same night as Gina's ballet recital. She's been rehearsing nonstop. You get it right." I nodded on autopilot, the hurt turning to ice inside. They chose her performance over my milestone. I showed up to my valedictorian event alone, scanning the crowd for empty seats where they should have been. As I gave my speech on resilience and future paths, the absence burned. That night solidified my resolve. I'd secured a partial scholarship to Stanford covering tuition basics but not the rest. My parents had hinted at chipping in once, but I vowed not to ask. The summer after, I worked 3 jobs: mornings at a coffee shop, afternoons filing papers in an office, evenings tutoring kids. Every paycheck went toward my independence. As August rolled in, I packed my life into 2 bags. My parents seemed surprised when I turned down their half-hearted offer to drive me to California. "I've got it handled," I said, heading out. Mom looked briefly worried. "You sure about money for the term?" I assured her I'd saved. Dad glanced over his paper. "Don't squander it." That was their goodbye. Meanwhile, Gina started high school with new gadgets and outfits. The contrast couldn't be starker, but I'd stopped expecting fairness. That moment pushed me toward full self-reliance. With my partial scholarship to Stanford covering tuition but little else, I refused to beg for their help. The summer before college, I hustled 3 jobs: barista shifts at dawn, office assistant in the afternoons, and tutoring evenings for high school kids cramming for exams. I scraped together every cent, stashing it for dorm fees, books, and meals. By August, my belongings fit into 2 suitcases, and I wheeled them out the door without a backward glance. My parents acted surprised when I declined their offer to drive me from Kansas City to California. "I've got it covered," I said, keeping my tone even. Mom paused, her brow furrowing slightly. "You have enough for the semester, right?" I nodded. "Saved it all." Dad looked up from his tablet. "College isn't cheap, don't blow it on nonsense." That was their send-off, crisp and detached. Meanwhile, Gina kicked off high school with fresh tech gadgets and a wardrobe refresh, the kind of perks that highlighted how uneven things were. Stories like this remind me of those shared experiences where balancing work and studies feels like an endless juggle. Arriving at Stanford was a shock to the system. While classmates dove straight into classes, I balanced a full load with ongoing jobs: library shifts, early mornings, food delivery between lectures, and retail weekends at a campus store. Sleep came in snatches, often just 4 hours before starting over. Despite our family's comfort back in Mission Hills, I got zero financial backup. The scholarship handled classes, but housing, textbooks, and even ramen packets came from my pocket. I snagged the tiniest dorm room available, mastered cheap eats like dollar menu burgers from nearby fast food spots, and hunted free campus events for snacks. In those early struggles, I met Carla Diaz, another med student grinding through it all. She came from a working-class family in Texas, juggling jobs like me to stay afloat. We clicked over shared late-night study sessions in the communal kitchen, splitting costs on used textbooks and trading tips on affordable meals. "How do your parents justify not helping when they could?" Carla asked one evening as we pored over notes. I shrugged it off. "They call it building character." She shook her head. "That's not character, it's straight-up neglect, especially with them spoiling your sister." Hearing it out loud from someone else made the reality sink in deeper, validating the quiet resentment I'd carried. My roommate Tanya Fuller became another anchor. She was a fellow freshman with big ideas about tech and medicine, and we'd chat late into the night about apps that could revolutionize diagnostics. One evening, as I vented about family pressures, Tanya sketched out a concept for an AI tool that could make health scans more accessible and secure, something that sparked my interest right away. Her enthusiasm helped me see potential beyond survival mode. Together, we brainstormed basics, laying seeds for what would grow into something bigger. But relationships complicated everything. But relationships complicated everything. In my sophomore year, I met Keith Osborne in an anatomy class. He was smart, outgoing, from a well-off family in Seattle, and we hit it off quickly over shared notes and late coffees. For a while, it felt like I'd found someone who truly got me. He was generous, always offering to cover dinners or quick trips up the coast. But my pride got in the way. I'd insist on splitting everything, even if it meant picking up extra shifts to afford my share. Keith tried to understand at first, but the strain built. "Just let me handle this," he'd say, during arguments, frustrated when I'd turn down his help for textbooks or rent. "Why make it harder on yourself? Ask your parents. They can afford it." No matter how I explained the family dynamics, the years of being pushed to fend for myself, he couldn't grasp it. Our breakup came after 8 months when he surprised me with tickets to a weekend in Napa Valley. I'd already committed to double shifts that break to cover bills, and when I explained, he called me stubborn and ungrateful. We ended things that night, adding heartbreak to my pile of challenges. I wonder if you've ever faced a split over something as raw as self-respect. Holidays amplified the isolation. While classmates headed home for breaks, I stayed on campus picking up work to fill the void and the wallet. My first Thanksgiving at Stanford, I called home, hoping for connection. "We miss you, Sheila," Mom said, but her voice was distant, the clink of dishes in the background. "We're sitting down to dinner now." Gina set the table beautifully. Laughter echoed through the line, the sound of family warmth I wasn't part of. "I'll let you go," I murmured. "Yes, talk soon," she replied, hanging up. That evening, I worked a double at the restaurant, serving turkey plates to strangers, while football games blared on TVs overhead, the cheers mocking my solitude. Those low points sharpened my focus. In my junior year, I enrolled in Professor Merritt's course on medical technology. Unlike others who overlooked the quiet student buried in notes, she noticed my analysis of AI in diagnostics. After class one day, she pulled me aside. "This work is advanced. Sheila, have you thought about specializing in health tech?" Her words sparked something. She became the mentor I'd craved, recommending resources, connecting me to experts, and affirming my ideas when no one else had. Under her guidance, I dove into artificial intelligence for medicine, fascinated by how algorithms could make diagnostics faster and safer. This was 2023, when AI was surging but still facing trust issues in healthcare. I spent hours in the library coding prototypes and exploring ways to secure patient data in apps. What started as class curiosity grew into a solid concept, an app that used AI for everyday health scans, bridging gaps in access. Professor Merritt pushed me. "You're onto a market need," she said. For once, I felt seen, my path lighting up beyond mere survival. Then the startup idea turned real. By the end of junior year, my fascination with AI in medicine had solidified into a business plan. I envisioned HealthAI, an app that used secure algorithms to analyze health scans for everyday users, catching issues early without the usual barriers. Professor Merritt saw the potential. "This fills a real gap in accessible care," she told me after reviewing my initial prototypes. Her encouragement turned academic curiosity into action. I spent hours coding, testing security features to ensure data privacy, especially amid growing concerns in healthcare tech. That summer, while classmates interned at big hospitals or traveled, I holed up in a cramped off-campus apartment shared with Carla, drafting code and business models. Tanya dropped by, often offering feedback on user interfaces from her design background. The concept evolved HealthAI would process scans 30% faster than existing tools, with bank-level encryption to build trust. Stanford's annual Innovation Challenge offered seed funding for student ventures, and with Professor Merritt's nudge, I entered. I refined my pitch for weeks, anticipating judges' questions on scalability and ethics. The competition drew over 100 entries, but when they announced HealthAI as the winner, it felt surreal. The prize, $50,000 in seed money and space in the university's tech incubator. It was validation I'd never gotten at home from strangers who valued the idea itself. The win caught eyes from investors, including George Hahn, a venture capitalist who'd built fortunes in health tech. He scheduled a meeting. "I'll offer $2 million for the full concept," he said after my demo. "Finish your degree worry-free." Tempting as it was, erasing debts, easing the grind, I paused. "Thanks, but I'm committed to building this myself." He nodded, impressed. Most would snap that up. The next day, he countered with $500,000 for a 15% stake. I accepted, incorporating the company and assembling a small team, 2 coders from computer science and a marketing whiz. We crammed into the incubator space, coding through nights fueled by cheap campus coffee. Challenges hit fast. 3 months in, we uncovered a flaw in the algorithm that risked data leaks, forcing a rewrite of half the code. I pulled all-nighters for days, eyes burning from screens. Then a developer bailed for a corporate gig, leaving us short-handed before a key demo. Our funds dwindled, launch still months away. In a low moment, I confided in Professor Merritt. "I think I've bitten off too much." She steadied me. "Every breakthrough has these walls. What matters is pushing through." Those startup setbacks mirror so many tales people share about chasing dreams against odds. We survived by grit. I handled more coding. Carla jumped in on admin tasks for free, and Tanya refined prototypes on weekends. Meanwhile, back home, I heard snippets from rare calls, Dad's software firm facing cutbacks amid the 2025 tech downturn, competition squeezing margins. They never mentioned it directly, too focused on Gina's updates, but it added irony to my own scramble. Graduation loomed, and my secret was about to surface. Graduation loomed, and my secret was about to surface. By senior year, HealthAI had landed $50 million in Series A funding, valuation topping $1 billion. Beta launch drew rave feedback, team at 30. I stayed low-key, no press. Part wanted pure independence proof. Another craved their shock after years sidelined. Professor Merritt grinned in our last session. "Forbes, 30, under 30, nominations yours." I downplayed it, but self-pride stirred from sources beyond family. 3 weeks prior, I sent invitations with tickets and a note stressing their presence. Phone checks became obsessive, craving real response. Tuesday evening, post-incubator, Dad called, old nerves flared. "Hello, Dad." Sheila, invite received. Waited for joy. Pause, mom, background. Sheila on graduation. To me, conflict that weekend. Heart sank. What? Gina's high school grad, same week, celebrations planned. Can't drive out. Hers Thursday, mine Saturday, both possible. Chicago shopping trip for her gift set, months back. Gripped phone. Stanford graduation, Dad, big deal? Tone eased slightly. Proud of you, always self-sufficient. Kicker. Bus to ceremony. Gina gets Porsche, she worked hard, UCLA bound. Absurdity nearly made me laugh. Her 3.2 GPA, Dad's alumni tie. My top prep rank, Merit, Stanford solo billion-dollar build. I see. Mom on speaker. Reliable one, no worries for you. Praise hit like conditional love indictment. Post-call, Carla spotted me stunned. Spilled Porsche for acceptance. No drive for Stanford? She embraced. They don't earn your stage, will roar me, Tanya. Professor Merritt team. Professor Merritt later. Some can't cheer, success reflects their limits. Don't dim yours. Hurt lingered, but bus stuck, poetic humble arrival as CEO billionaire versus Gina's luxury. 2 days before Dean Yates' urgent email. Feared degree issue. Miss Hall Forbes called youngest self-made health tech billionaire. Leak, wanted more privacy. Highlight at commencement. Hesitated agreed brief summa cum laude mention. Exiting Gina texted, parents flipped coming Saturday. Swirl shift but why not just degree? Sunny Palo Alto dawn. Cap-adjusted bus ride held solo journey nod. Empty bus streets blurred reflection on 4-year shift. Team talk Carla texts front seats saved. Yard banners families? Spotted them. Dad suited mom poised. Gina phoned. Unseen yet. Approached. You came. Mom turned practice smile. Sheila graduated. Quick hug perfume hit. Dad handshake. Traffic light early start. Gina. Congrats Dawn drag. Appreciate it. Flicker old hope. Wouldn't miss. Mom knowing. Recent flip. Announcement graduates line. 3rd row reserved. Walked Gina whole thing ceremony. March seats remarks. Summa cum laude post-diploma speech. Dean degrees. Sheila Hall, summa cum laude medicine. Crossed shook diploma. Mike Hold. Not just top Forbes' youngest self-made billionaire health AI founder revolutionizing AI diagnostics. Gasps applause. Glance dad white-faced program dropped scattering. Mom hand-mouthed. Gina gaped phone down. Moment sparked thoughts on standing ground choices. Dean podium nod. Cheers unfolded speech. Carla, Shah, Professor Merritt beaming. Dad shaky papers fumbled. Began. 4 years back dreams, doubts, varied starts. United pursuit. Resilience, innovation, self-belief, hurdles, sans family call-out. Success obstacles overcome growth. Standing ovation classmates newfound respect. Blurred rest caps high. Mingling congrats, swarms, prof hands dean, alumni intros. Crowd through family pushed. Dad determined, mom gauging Gina intrigued. Faced calm, braced. But this was just their regret's start. 1 year after graduation, I stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of my Manhattan penthouse, the city skyline stretching out below. The view still grounded me, a reminder of the distance I'd covered. In the glass reflection, a framed Forbes cover caught my eye, my photo with the headline, HealthAI's billion-dollar prodigy, how Sheila Hall built the future of diagnostics in college. Moiety. The company had exploded, user base hit 5 million, tech license to major hospitals, valuation soaring past $5 billion. Offices in New York, San Francisco, and Boston housed over 200 team members pushing our vision forward. The real shift, though, was inside. That girl who'd bust to her ceremony craving approval had transformed into someone who knew her value without it. Healing wasn't straightforward. Night still brought flashes of childhood dismissals and parental indifference stirring old aches. I found Dr. Jarvis, a New York therapist specializing in family dynamics, who helped unpack it all. Their actions reflected their limitations, not your worth, she explained in one session. Those insights reframed 2 decades, letting me acknowledge the pain without letting it steer me. My relationship with my family severed completely. After the reveal, they bombarded me with calls and texts, Dad proposing board seats for his expertise, Mom angling for glossy family profiles claiming credit. I blocked their numbers, skipped holidays back in Kansas City, and ignored outreach. No reconciliation, no space for pretend harmony after years of conditional care. Boundaries became my shield, and I held them firm. The fallout hit them hard in ways that felt like quiet justice. In Mission Hill's tight-knit community, word spread fast. Friends and neighbors distanced themselves once the favoritism story leaked through local gossip and online whispers. Dad's reputation as a fair leader took a dive. Colleagues pulled back, affecting his network in Kansas City's tech circles. His company, already strained by 2025's market dips, faced deeper cuts. Bad investments in volatile stocks led to layoffs, including his own team reductions. They downsized the house, scraping by on savings the Porsche long sold to cover bills. Gina bore it worst. Without their cushion, UCLA proved too much. She dropped out after one semester, overwhelmed by costs and lack of support. Last I heard, through a mutual acquaintance, she juggled waitressing and odd jobs in Los Angeles, scraping for rent, no safety net. Her attempts to reach me post-graduation texts praising my cool success, pleas for advice, went unanswered. She'd been as trapped in their system as I was, but rebuilding meant choosing my peace over theirs. Carla, now my COO and rock, ran our foundation funding scholarships for students like us, covering tuition, living costs, tech needs, so they could focus without the juggle. Professor Merritt joined as advisor post-retirement, her wisdom guiding us still. Tanya, Carla, the team they formed, my chosen circle, celebrating wins and weathering storms with genuine support. The journey taught me self-worth stands alone, boundaries protect it, and true family chooses you back. That knowledge, more than any valuation, marked my real success. My story might echo something in yours. Drop it below if it does. Share how you've set boundaries or chased independence. If this resonated, like, subscribe, and pass it on to someone needing that push. Remember, sometimes the best revenge is thriving on your terms.